Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh, Baha Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Baha Hashem, Barak Wadash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. And double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, great millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. Trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, or so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got some videos lined up on some of the plagues that the Lord is bringing upon the whole earth. Most of the plagues are hitting Babylon, the great America. I'm going to play these videos. I'm going to get into the scripture my best ability. Say whatever God say through the spirit of power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Kurhak Wadash, Lord, will be on me. Let's get it.
The World Health Organization on Sunday declared an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda a public health emergency of international concern. The outbreak has so far led to at least 80 deaths and more than 300 suspected cases. It is caused by the Bundibugyo strain.
Yeah, trying to wipe out some of you Israelites on the west coast of Africa.
Of the
Nothing new.
Virus for which there are no approved treatments or vaccines. Ebola spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids. It is rare but severe and frequently fatal. The WHO said international spread has already been documented, with 2 confirmed cases in Uganda's capital, Kampala, from people traveling from the Democratic Republic of Congo. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has activated its Emergency Response Center and is sending additional staff to both countries. The WHO advised against border closures, warning they could push movements to unmonitored crossings and instead called for cross-border screening and immediate isolation of confirmed cases.
An international health emergency is in effect over an outbreak of an Ebola strain in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. It has killed more than 80 people so far in Congo. Fears of further spread growing when authorities confirmed a case in the country's biggest city, which is controlled by the M23 rebels. Meanwhile, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is mobilizing response efforts following an Ebola outbreak there, supporting partners withdrawing a small number of directly affected Americans. Earlier, U.S. media reported that a number of Americans currently in Congo are believed to have been exposed to suspected cases. The latest development coming as Congo is battling a rapidly spreading outbreak linked to the rare strain of the virus. It's a strain for which there is currently no approved vaccine. Clinical symptoms include fever, bleeding, and multi-organ damage. The disease has a fatality rate as high as 50 to even 90%. The outbreak in Congo has so far been centered in a province in the northeastern part near the country's borders with Uganda and South Sudan. Containing the outbreak there is complicated by the constant movement of people. There is a lot of gold mining activity in the province, which also suffers from regular attacks by the armed groups active in the region.
It is an epidemic that will spread very rapidly, all the more so as it has broken out in a densely populated province, with a high concentration of people and a great deal of population movement. And then, of course, there is the added complication that there are many armed groups in this province. That is what will make managing this epidemic very, very, very complicated.
And according to health officials in Congo, at least 88 people have died, while more than 300 suspected cases have been reported. The virus has also crossed borders, with Uganda confirming a related death. The WHO said the outbreak did not meet the criteria of a pandemic emergency, but there was a huge risk, there was a high risk that the disease could spread further to countries sharing land borders. Experts believe fruit bats are the natural carriers of Ebola, though interestingly the bats themselves do not fall ill. The virus can also spread through other infected animals like antelopes and porcupines before being transmitted to humans. Human-to-human transmission happens through direct contact with the bodily fluids of infected people, including blood, vomit, and other secretions. Traditional burial practices involving physical contact with the victims have also contributed to Ebola spread during outbreaks. Unlike some respiratory diseases, Ebola does not spread through the air. However, once infected, patients face a very high risk of death. To stay up.
Hey, there go your pestilence. Shit, I don't know, man. What it gonna be like? I can tell you, stay prayed up the Lord. Let's get to them earthquakes.
A 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck Guangxi, China, early Monday morning, May 18, 2026, at approximately 12:21 a.m. local time. According to the Guangxi Earthquake Bureau, the epicenter was in Liaoning District, Liuzhou City, at a depth of 8 kilometers. Strong tremors were reportedly felt in several areas, including Liuzhou, Guilin, and Nanning. Latest reports from the field indicate that the worst damage was centered in Taiyuankun City. At least 7 independent roadside houses reportedly collapsed due to the earthquake. Residents were also reported trapped under rubble, while several other buildings suffered serious cracks. Authorities have activated a Level 2 emergency response status. A total of 110 firefighters from the Liaoning Fire Department were deployed to the location for search and rescue operations. Residents are advised to remain vigilant for potential aftershocks. 2 people have reportedly died and 1 person remains missing as a result of the earthquake. Initial reports indicate that the tremors have impacted several residential areas and infrastructure near the epicenter. Local authorities have released initial data on casualties and damage on the ground. The local government continues to search for missing residents and conduct thorough inspections of vital infrastructures such as buildings, electricity and water networks, and transportation access. Monitoring for aftershocks is ongoing while accelerating the recovery process in the affected areas.
Okay, thank you for watching to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe because I'll give you the information about the natural disaster around the world every day. There are many natural disasters around the world.
Get Zaxby's Fingers and Wings in lemon pepper, garlic parm, and Nashville hot. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
I'm Blake Tillery. I learned early on that all Republicans aren't conservative. When I helped Republicans get elected.
Damn, that dude reacted real fast. I'm like, shit, the moment it started, he took off with his, I guess that was his wife, or no, they being interviewed or something. I don't know. See, he's already shaking. They ain't even paying no damn attention. Look at them. They ain't paying no attention. She noticed something. She like, wait a minute. What was that? Damn buildings are made out of shit. They just falling to pieces. See that shit crack right there.
居位这枚。房子到了，然后那2个 B 啊，这个地震，差点得死在里头。哦，地震导致了大碗。哦，这样的。要紧了。这人来着。
到了，我们几家房子全部到了。门打，没有死，没有人，门打。
It was 12:21 a.m. Most of Liuzhou was asleep when the ground started shaking, and by the time it stopped, 13 buildings had collapsed, 2 people were dead, and over 7,000 residents were being pulled from their homes in the dark. A 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck Liuzhou in China's Guangxi-Zhuang Autonomous Region in the early hours of Monday morning. The epicenter hit Liaonan district near a small settlement called Taiyang Village at a shallow depth of just 8 to 10 kilometers. That shallow depth matters. The closer an earthquake is to the surface, the more violent the shaking felt above ground, even if the magnitude itself isn't record-breaking. A 5.2 deep underground is one thing. A 5.2 at 8 kilometers, that's a completely different experience for anyone standing on top of it. Tremors were felt strongly across the wider region, in Nanning, Guilin, Hechi, and Wuzhou, but the worst of the damage concentrated right at the epicenter, in those rural villages where older structures simply weren't built to absorb that kind of force. 2 people lost their lives, a 63-year-old man and his 53-year-old wife, a couple killed when their home came down around them in the middle of the night. No warning, no time. A 91-year-old man was initially reported missing, buried somewhere in the debris. Rescue teams worked through the night under floodlights with search dogs moving through the rubble. They found him. He was pulled out alive, in stable condition. 4 others were hospitalized with injuries, none life-threatening. More than 7,000 residents were evacuated from impacted areas as authorities moved quickly to get people away from structures at risk of further collapse. China activated a Level 3 emergency response almost immediately. Over 300 emergency personnel, firefighters, rescue teams, engineers deployed to the area with dozens of vehicles and heavy machinery. Operations ran through the night without stopping. Railway authorities inspected all nearby rail lines, flagging potential transport disruptions as a precaution. By midday Monday, the active search and rescue phase was largely wrapped up. The 91-year-old survivor was the last major find. Utilities, power, water, gas, and communications remained operational throughout, which helped keep the situation from deteriorating further. 13 buildings down, 2 lives lost, a couple who went to sleep and never woke up. China's emergency teams responded fast. The 91-year-old man is alive because of it. But for the family of the couple in Taiyang Village tonight, this earthquake took everything. Our thoughts are with everyone in Liuzhou.
Hey man, that's judge, man. That's plays of the Lord. Playing you Moabites, you heathens. And you're going to have Israelites, speckled birds that look like the heathens. And straight up Israelites that look like typical Israelites living there. But hey, this is warning for you Israelites. Repent and seek the Lord. And if you're already doing it, continue and don't stop. No matter how hard it can be. It's going to get bad. Let's get to the next video. What's going on in America? Earthquakes.
People were scared.
Oh, this ain't America. There was an earthquake. I was going to get that video, but I wasn't sure if I was going to get it. Where is this at? It's somewhere in, I don't know. I think it's South Africa. No, it's Caribbean. I'm tripping. This is Caribbean. Anyway.
Because it was very heavy and it lasted for quite some time. At this point in time, I think people are a little bit more comfortable simply because we have not had any reports of any major damage or extensive damage.
And it's like 2 days ago. And there was an earthquake 6 days ago in Arizona, but I didn't really want to report that because it's so old.
Have had some reports of supermarkets being temporarily closed, items crashing from the shelves, minor ceiling damage, but we have not had any reports of any major damage or anything of the sort. So I think people are just getting back to normal at this point in time. Obviously, it was a shock to the system. I was at home and it was heavy, and I panicked. I panicked for a bit, and I thought that it was going to stop, but it didn't. And I said, okay, that is heavy. It must be more than at least a 5.5. And apparently it registered at 6.5 based on the information.
Based on all available data, there is no tsunami threat to Barbados from this earthquake. There are no tsunami watches or warnings in effect for Barbados. An earthquake has occurred with the following preliminary parameters reported by the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center: magnitude 6.1, origin time 10:50 a.m. local time, coordinates 17.6 degrees north, 61.0 degrees west, with a depth of 39 miles or 63 kilometers.
Well, anyway, I mean, it's 2 days ago, but still, there's still earthquakes in diverse places still going on. Let's get to this next one. What's it? Tornadoes.
Spring, the unofficial new year for tool people. New jobs, new projects with quality.
Baseball size hail.
Ready? Go.
It looked like, I don't know, this is like a field, like a farmland or something. Cause it looked like it's already been harvested. Yeah, it looked like the shit already been harvested. It looked like it. Or either they being worked on. I don't know, but it's it plaguing. Hey, and these tornadoes can jack up farmland and destroy crops. With the blasting and hail, a fearful constellation.
Okay, we gotta stop right here, dude. Yeah, area. We're close.
As well as the Elba area as well. Severe thunderstorm warning until 5 o'clock.
Is that EF3?
Oh, EF2 at least.
Are you close?
No, we're good. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, we gotta get out of the car and film this shit. Let's move, let's drive closer. Let's get a better shot.
Is it heading towards us?
Damn, they motherfucker moved fast. Hold on. He was like right here.
Is it heading towards us?
Yeah, shit. Yeah, it's moving real fast over here. It looks like it's about to break up. No, it ain't breaking up.
Down this road. It's dark.
Well, anyway, some more videos about these storms.
We begin with the weather. There was violent weather in the middle of the country. More than 24 tornadoes were reported Sunday, including this powerful storm in central Nebraska. You're going to see it right there. Look at that. That is a huge tornado. There's more extreme weather that could be on the way, putting tens of millions of Americans in harm's way. CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano is in hard-hit St. Paul, Nebraska, with a look at the damage and the forecast to come. Hey, Rob, how you doing? What's the latest?
Hey, Adriana. Yeah, well, we got here last night, but I didn't see that video you just wowed at to this morning. It is absolutely terrifying. This was likely an EF3 or 4, or maybe worse. Now that the sun's coming up, we're starting to see the damage. This is one of several homes in this area that pretty much flat, maybe just one wall left standing. Look at this wall. That's been thrown this way. You can kind of see what direction the tornado came from. Came over that hill, blasted on this side of this home, and that's the only thing that is left. This is a brand new home. The family moved in here just 2 weeks ago, so this is really heartbreaking. They designed and built themselves. Daughter was in the shower. Mother saw the tornado come over the hill, grabbed her out of the shower. They ran down these stairs into that basement, and they managed to survive in that way. So they're grateful in that regard. We're very grateful. No one has lost their life with this storm, and today could very well be worse. A couple dozen tornado reports yesterday, and we had winds, straight line winds gusting over 80 miles an hour in Iowa and South Dakota on out. But light and lapping into that record.
I really don't care for all these radars and shit.
In the next half an hour. But meantime, these folks are living with family. Their church members came last night to help them kind of gather what they could and salvage what they could. So they're grateful that they have that sort of community support. But this place just absolutely got hammered with a tornado last night.
I mean, you can just see it behind you. That's unbelievable. Is this the house that was custom built?
Yeah, she designed it, they built it, and like I said, they just moved in two weeks ago.
Oh,
so
man.
This was a
wow. Yeah. Amen. Whatever. Nahum chapter 1 verse 3, the Lord Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. Hey, for 2/3 of Israel and you heathens, amen, this destruction is for you. And I hope and pray, Lord, have mercy on me. You better do the same for yourself. The Lord Yahweh have his way in the whirlwind and in the storm and the clouds of the dust of his feet. So there ain't nothing like, man, there ain't nothing to Yahweh by Shemal try to make things happen. Yep. And yes, they brought that happen. Yeah, they brought all that destruction. Switch to the next video. What's it about? Wildfires? People evacuating.
This is big breaking news. Urgent mandatory evacuations have been issued and people's homes are at risk right now. Hundreds of homes are in the path of this destruction. This is happening right outside of Los Angeles, California, in very populated areas and neighborhoods. So let's get into all the details here. We're actually seeing this happen in multiple areas. We're seeing air assets deployed and we're seeing aerial evacuations as well. So let's get into this. You guys can see this is the scene right now coming out of Simi Valley, California. Alright, this is what's happening today, Monday, May 18th. People in this town right west of Los Angeles are experiencing this massive fire that has broken out. It is over 700 acres now. You can see here, this was posted by Daniel McGreevy. He said the Sandy fire as captured by my parents from their front yard in Simi Valley right now. Evacuations have been ordered for this area, and the fire has grown rapidly out of control just in the last few hours. It was originally reported at 20 acres just a few hours ago. It's now confirmed over 700 acres, and it's moving closer to people's homes. All right, so very concerning. You can see this is a very populated neighborhood with nice homes in it, very densely populated. So if the fire does get to this neighborhood, it has the potential to spread rapidly to these homes as well. You guys can see here, it says Ventura County Sheriff Emergency Service Incident Dashboard. This is giving you the exact mapping location of where the evacuations are right now. Just to give you a broader view, this is the fire here. All right, this is Simi Valley, the town of 125,000 people, by the way. It's a pretty large town, and it's right outside of Los Angeles. Okay, so lots of people live here. You can see the evacuation zone that has been issued by the Ventura County Emergency Management Office. If you're in the red areas, it means you need to level 3 evacuate go now orders have been issued. And if you're in the yellow areas, evacuation orders level 2 set orders have been issued. So you're here along the border of Colorado that actually caused the entire town to evacuate. You guys can see here, it says town of Campo under mandatory evacuation. It was lifted after Oklahoma wildfire moves into southeastern Colorado. All right, so this happened yesterday. The fire briefly spread into Colorado. It grew to 28,000 acres, the Sharp fire, and it forced evacuations for Campo, Colorado. Right, it says Colorado governor declares disaster emergency as Sharp fire grows to 28,000 acres. It started Friday night in the Oklahoma Panhandle and moved quickly Sunday, forcing evacuations. All right, so these fires are just popping up all over the place, and you can see here the Sharp fire. All right, 28,000 acres. It just blew right into Campo. These winds are insane right now. All right, it feels like the house is going to blow over when you get in these extreme winds, these 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and 20, 30-mile-an-hour sustained winds all day. It's a dangerous situation. A small little spark fire can spread to thousands of acres very quickly, right? So that's why they're tackling this California one so rapidly right now, because it's already grown to 700 acres and it's right up against people's homes. All right, I mean, you can see the dark red here is where the fire currently is. Some homes and preemptively. All right, let's listen to this really quick, because when you got to evacuate, it's really quick. Let's listen to this. This is Andy Van Siever, the Ventura Fire Department spokesperson, where this Semi Valley fire is happening. Let's listen to this really quick.
Approximately 200 firefighters on scene, and we are attacking the fire both from the air and from the ground.
Hey, Andy, it's John Roberts here. Looks like we got one home that's burned because all we see left is the fireplace and the chimney. It's pretty warm there today. It's supposed to hit about 80 degrees. It's dry. Winds are blowing about 10 to 15, gusting to 20 to 25 this afternoon. There was a fire danger warning that was put out earlier today. Any idea how this fire started?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the start or the condition of the home that you mentioned, but I will let you know that we coordinate with the National Weather Service almost on a daily basis for fire weather statistics and information. So we were prepared for this wind. We're anticipating these dry winds to subside in about 4 to 5 hours, and we're continuing to get resources arriving on scene. I just saw a new air tanker come in a little bit ago.
Right, we've been seeing the requests go out for more tankers. Mutual aid has been...
Right, so, right, the West has just been
Arizona, they on fire, I believe. Some parts on wildfires. I don't know who else. I can't remember. I haven't really looked up. I should have looked up more video. The Lord just gave me this one, so I thought this video was gonna be talking about wildfires just happening in so many places. It seemed like he just talking about just California. What do you say? Colorado as well too. I probably another state. I don't remember, but whatever. But hey, the Lord ain't just shaking people up and blowing people away, but also burn their asses up and also drying them up with these droughts. I'm gonna get to that, but first let me read the scripture. Isaiah chapter. And last but not least, I got another video, but it's about famine. Yep, they're gonna starve people out too. But Isaiah chapter 29 verse 6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. Let's get to the next one.
An effort is underway right now in our high country to maintain the moisture that we did get during our dry winter. Denver Water transferring the water from Antero Reservoir, which is located between Fairplay and Buena Vista, and they're going to move it to Cheeseman Reservoir near Deckers. Your reporter of the mountain, Spencer Wilson, takes us to the efforts to preserve what little water that we can hold on to.
You're looking at Denver Water evacuating one of their reservoirs. Ontario Reservoir, around 9,000 feet up in Park County, is sending all of its water down to the Front Range, simply because we are losing so much water to evaporation. This is one of our more shallow reservoirs.
Or either by a data, well, there ain't no data center near this area, but
and the wind whips.
But they are people are losing water because of that shit.
Past this area, we cannot afford to lose another single drop here in Colorado in this incredibly dry year.
It has a large surface area, it's very windy up here, and the reservoir is also really shallow. So those things contribute to a really high evaporation rate.
Denver Water says it's better to close down Antero Reservoir to the public and then ship the water it was storing downstream than to lose an estimated quarter of the water held here to evaporation over the summer. But the popular boating and fishing spot could be closed for a while.
2002, when we drained it that year, it took about 4 years to fully refill. In 2015, it only took a year to refill.
90% of Denver Water's supply comes from snowmelt, and we all know how much we've struggled with snow this year.
We had the lowest peak snowpack we've ever seen. We had the earliest melt-off that we've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely not the typical weather, you and I saw growing up here in Colorado. We can kind of attest to that.
Local Jeff Robbins says he knows people will miss the reservoir, especially those who make their living there as fishing guides or helping boaters. But there are still other options for outdoor recreation here too.
It's probably going to make the other lakes busier.
Speaking of the wildlife, CPW will make efforts to dredge the remaining fish out of here in the next few weeks and then move them down to Spiny Mountain Reservoir and 11 Mile Reservoir.
We're going to see a lot of hard decisions this year, whether it's draining a reservoir, whether it's a farmer figuring out how much of their fields that they want to plant. It's going to be a very tough year. I'd really like our customers to take away just how serious the situation is.
In Park County, Spencer Wilson, covering Colorado First.
Spencer, thank you so
much, Caitlin. The majority of the United States is in drought right now, and we continue to see drought as we head into the next several weeks, and it's likely to get worse as we head into experiencing abnormally dry conditions. I talked to Dr. Andrew Ellis with Virginia Tech's Department of Geography today. He says that the rainfall deficit actually began back in summer of 2024 and was made worse by continued dryness through the fall of 2025. During that time, La Nina, you probably have heard that once or twice, twice, an atmospheric pattern known to bring drier conditions to the mid-Atlantic that took hold.
So this past fall, and that was kind of the triggering for our particular drought that we've evolved into. And so it's largely a storm track. I mean, our droughts are all mostly predicated on winter season precipitation. We get the most widespread and regular occurrences of rainfall and snow. And so the storm track to the south, or excuse me, north and not across the southern tier of the U.S. just brings dryness with La Nina conditions. The storm track gets pushed a little bit more near the U.S.-Canadian border. The Pacific Northwest is typically very dry, very wet during a La Nina episode. Storm track comes in off the Pacific, British Columbia, Canada, and Pacific Northwestern of the U.S. And that did not happen this year.
So that La Nina pattern that Dr. Ellis was describing, I've got it here right behind me. So the jet stream, where you can see these.
I don't hear all that damn radio. See all these radars and shit.
Drying up parts of Lake Norman.
WBTV's Michael Warwick explains why boaters are worried headed into the holiday weekend.
Part of that concern coming from lifelong boaters is that they know the hidden dangers in shallow water, and lake levels show us that the water is only getting more shallow by the day.
Drone 3 picks up patches of dry land outlining Lake Norman, as even the birds find their footing in unfamiliar territory.
Oh yes, it's definitely noticeable. I don't personally remember seeing it quite this low.
Wesley Hopkins carefully navigated the channel on his jet ski. A lifelong boater, these conditions require a careful eye. With the water level dropping, dangerous rocks and shoals are only closer to the surface.
Don't be hauling butt, just having fun, because anything can happen fast, and you wouldn't want to be in that situation. So just be, have fun, but just be safe.
Lake data shows over the past 5 years, the lake averaged around 98 feet in May. This year, it's dropped to 94, a difference of 4 feet.
We definitely need rain everywhere. It doesn't matter, because it's got to fill this lake back up. And it's drinking water. It's, you going out washing your car water. It's, water is very, very important. So especially when you're boating and things like that. I mean, we need rain.
As we wait for a healthy rain, Wesley asks it to hustle up.
With the water restriction and all that, and hopefully the summer now is getting hotter, so it's going to evaporate faster. We just need to, hopefully we'll get some rain here soon.
He worries for more inexperienced boaters taking to the water this holiday weekend, unaware of drought-driven danger.
Just be careful. Pay attention. Watch for other boaters and just watch where you're going.
And something that could add to the busyness of the Memorial Day holiday is that park rangers have closed at least 4 boat ramps here at Blind Landing alone because of the low water levels. On Lake Norman tonight, Michael Warwick, WBTV, on your side.
All right, Michael, and if you live in Charlotte, you're being asked to do your part to help conserve water during the drought.
Hi, everyone. Hello, YouTube. I am George Flickinger from ABC 13 WSET TV, and we're going to be telling you about the drought, and we're just going to make it rain here in the studio because for some of you, this may be as much rain as you're seeing. It's been so dry to start off this year, and also, of course, this drought persists. It started last summer. This is now the 8th and 9th month in a row that this drought is persisting, which is, of course, terrible news. So what I want to do is to show you some of the official rainfall numbers, the drought status, but also what is going to be ahead. First off, I want to show you some of the rainfall.
Yeah, I got to check on them. Check my weather, see what it's gonna be recently. Well, I don't know what it's gonna be like in the future, but I still want to check. It rained yesterday, but it didn't do much. Shit, dry as hell still. But I want to check. We're talking about some rain Thursday, Friday where I'm at. Maybe it's gonna probably change, but whatever.
Totals for the year, all of Virginia is drier than normal.
Damn, it ain't much rain. It might as well say it won't rain. I remember, was it yesterday? They were talking about 20-something%. It turned out to be 70 or 80 until it was 100%, but it wasn't much rain. But anyway.
There's Lynchburg running about 5 inches below normal for the year, and that comes out to 34% below normal. We're right at 10 inches of rain for the year. The totals get worse into Southside Virginia and especially into the Carolinas. Danville, 46% below normal. Roanoke, not really any better, and Charlottesville is also in a significant drought. Earlier this week, we had a news story out at Smith Mountain Lake where we were taking a look at how the folks out at Smith Mountain Lake are being impacted by the levels of the drought. So here is that story that we ran earlier this week.
Okay. We're going to start now.
Week on ABC 13.
For some, Smith Mountain Lake is their livelihood. It gets especially tough when the lake is 5 feet below typical water levels.
We're having a hard time getting boats in and out.
Scott Reynolds is the owner of Smith Mountain Boat and Tackle. He says lower water levels are making operations difficult. More specifically, boats work better in the water than the parking lot.
We've got several boats here that we've taken out to work on, and the lake has went down. We can't even get them back to their dock.
Reynolds and his crew sell and service boats, but when your office is on the water and parts of the lake look like this, he says it becomes challenging to serve customers. He tells me he has nearly 60 service tickets pending because many docks are currently not accessible.
It hurts everybody, it really does.
But if you are able to get your boat out, officials say to be mindful of conditions on the water and stay alert for channel markers.
The nice thing with the channel markers is most of them are embedded into the ground and are standing up straight and tall. Not all the shoal markers are going to be as easy to see right now.
And despite these lower water levels, Mitchell's Point Marina says you can still get out on the water for some fun. Chris Levy is preparing to welcome guests heading into Memorial Day weekend. They're making sure the boats, kayaks, and paddleboards are ready to go.
Obviously, some floating docks are lower, might make it more challenging to get up and down docks, but other than that, we're open for business.
But they are urging caution too. Levy says if the water starts looking murky or the shoreline gets closer, you may be heading into a shallow area.
Be vigilant, know the draft of your boat, wear a life jacket.
All to stay safe and enjoy your summer fun. Reporting in Smith Mountain Lake, Charlie Vicario, ABC 13 News.
Charlie Vicario's package that you just saw right there, her news story out at Smith Mountain Lake. It's kind of...
Okay, I want to hear all this shit and see all this stuff about... Let's see what we're talking about with like farmland food supplies. Let's get to that.
Put that in 6 inches very easily, and you break it off. It will not go. The ground is that hard.
This is Timothy Shelton's soybean field. At least it's supposed to be.
Not a single seed has gone on the ground here. We've been just too dry, and the soil's too hard.
Typically during a normal farming season, these soybeans would already be in the ground and growing, but they're not. They're stuck here at the Bedford Cooperative because of this extreme drought. For Shelton, no rain means no planting, and the clock is ticking.
It's almost at the end of the road for the spring season to be 100% loss.
The Bedford Cooperative supplies farmers like Shelton with seeds. Have you ever seen anything like what we're experiencing now?
I've been doing this for 16 years. I've never seen a year start off like this.
Manager Stephen Mitchell says the entire supply chain is starting to slow down.
So everybody's waiting on rain. I mean, we're waiting for the farmers to get busy so we can get busy.
So how much rain are we talking to get out of this drought? Well, this little bit of rain that we're having today isn't going to cut it.
Today is a big help. I mean, it makes us feel a lot better, but unfortunately, we've only had 1/10 of an inch of rain so far. We need a minimum of 1 inch.
So if supply runs low, demand skyrockets.
And there comes a point if we get to June 10th, that's a cutoff, no more seeding, you can't be covered with insurance. So then we're stuck with seed and no product to sell to the consumer.
And while you may not notice it at the grocery stores right away, experts say the risk is there.
I don't know that you'll see an immediate impact, but it certainly has the potential to impact the consumer at their level.
In Pennsylvania County, Sarah Weitzman, ABC 13 News.
Sarah's story, it just breaks.
All right, let's start that. Let's see what's going on here. We're talking about cattle in South Georgia. I mean, it's drought affecting the cattle, the farmland over in South Georgia. That's what I meant to say.
When allergies throw a sucker punch, the power of Claritin D punches back.
Well, just 1 hour ago, Leon County's burn ban expired. The county says our recent rain was enough to lower the risk of wildfires.
In South Georgia, farmers are feeling a bit more positive after those rains, too. Abrea Ruffin spoke to some of them today in Grady County. Abrea, what did they share with you?
Yeah, Julie, agricultural experts say they are monitoring the drought and they're urging growers to prepare for worst-case scenario, which could be a continued lack of water. But the recent rain is offering hope in a dry season.
The rain definitely took the immediate stress off of us.
Bobby Holden with Grady Ranch says a weight is lifted after much-needed rainfall. The ongoing drought from last fall has literally drained many growers across the region. The severe dryness left crops dehydrated, damaged, and unusable, resulting in higher irrigation costs and product loss. Now, the recent waterfall is providing some hope.
It has been a great emotional relief and just kind of happy. Almost when it first started, week before last, almost went outside and just stood in it.
Holden says the rain is a relief, but the drought is a collective issue. While the grass is responding well, shining a familiar green in comparison to last fall's brown crisp, the amount of rain it'll take to make up for the drought is concerning.
There's no excess moisture in the soil, and so as soon as this top moisture evaporates, the plants are back to stressful conditions.
Even with the rainfall, our area still sits at the highest drought level, D4. UGA Extension expert Cale Cloud says that this seems like the light at the end of the tunnel, but there's a long way to go with this deficit.
If the drought continues,
then that'll, again, like I said, that'll cut into our hay production. Yeah, pastures and hay fields, I mean, they were just brown, just dead looking, but now they finally got some life and they're starting to green up now.
Holden says from a management standpoint, they have to make difficult decisions quickly and take into account where the drought could leave them in the future. But either way, he says they have to carry their livestock through no matter the conditions they face.
Probably behind one cutting of hay. So if you don't have the pasture, you fall back on hay, but without the previous rains, there's not going to be hay available either. So your only next step is to not have as many animals on hand that you got to feed.
So with this drought, it's going to create famine. Let me get to this before I forget to read. Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 28. A drought is upon her waters, and there shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Yeah, these people gonna be mad at Allah, Buddha, and Jeebus, Jesus Christos, because they ain't doing nothing for these people. Because they ain't gonna do nothing for these people. These damn idols are dead. They're not alive. They're not living. They ain't got no power. They weak as hell, and they just no power at all. It's not. They're not weak. They just have no power. Absolutely none at all. They don't exist. But Yahweh Shema Shai exists, and as you can clearly see, Yahweh Shema Shai is jacking these people up. Yep. And what did I say? When there's drought, there's gonna be famine. Or when there's extreme drought, yeah, there's gonna be some famine, especially if that drought is affecting crops to grow and livestock to feed, especially hay. Yeah, hey, people gonna get cut off. People and beasts gonna get cut off. What is it? Ezekiel chapter 14 verse 13. Son of man, when the land sinned against me by trespassing grievously, then I will stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of bread thereof, the support system, delivery system, processing the food and all that stuff, and will send upon them, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. So people and animals gonna get destroyed from famine, the lack of food. Let's get to the next one.
Guys, this report is astounding. 225 million excess deaths. Not from war, not from some sort of pandemic, but from fertilizer. One single choke point in the Middle East has already set off a cascade of events. And these events are something that official models have been completely blind to. The World Bank, the FAO, the WFP are all using the exact same data that's in this report that I'm going to share with you today, and yet their numbers are dramatically different, significantly lower. Why is that? The answer to that is because they are actually adding each of these risks as like Lego blocks. But this independent systems model in the report that I'm going to share with you today treats every single one of these as cascading dominoes, and it's a very real problem. This report is called From Hormuz to Hunger, and it's the 32nd sectional report that should be on every world leader's desk. Now, something that you should keep in mind is when we say 225 million people, you have to put this into perspective. Every single year, it's estimated that there are 650 million people across the planet that are already suffering from acute hunger. That's on a normal year. Over 10 million people, or about 10 million people, die of starvation every single year. These are the numbers that nobody ever pays attention to, but as they grow, believe me, people will begin to. Now I'm going to talk about this report, and then I'm going to take it a step further in the reality of today that should have everybody sitting on the edge of their seat. Because what this report leaves out is the gut-wrenching long-term reality that could turn this crisis into a multi-decade-long restructuring of the entire global food system. Guys, if you care about food prices, empty shelves, or what your kids are going to be eating in 2027 and beyond, pay attention to this video. Now, this report wasn't written by some guy in his basement. Jonathan Kelly is an independent systems risk analyst. And what he did here was he built a probabilistic model using 18 primary sources: WAO, WFP, UNCTAD, World Bank CMO April 2026 report, GRFC 2026. He's using the exact same data that all of these global institutions are using. So why does his central estimate, this is the center of the line, land at 118 to 225 million excess deaths? And it's simple. It's because the way that these institutions set these models up are linear and additive. Kelly has taken these models and turned it into something that compounds, it multiplies. He identified 9 of these chains that don't just add up, but they actually trigger and then amplify each other. And the report is brutally honest. The gap between official projections and system analysis itself is the most important finding. As many of you know, on February 28th, 2026, the US and Israel hit Iran. As a result, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz. Vessels went from about 141 a day down to 4, 97% collapse. Everybody was watching oil prices. We're all still watching oil prices. But very few people had really talked about fertilizer. 30% of all globally traded fertilizer moves through this small little strait, including 67% of Gulf urea exports, 16 million tons. Now, here's the part that should terrify you. Unlike oil, like gas, there are no strategic reserves of fertilizer. Oil has the IEA, 400 million barrels. Fertilizer has nothing. When the tapped fertilizer turns off, the global harvest starts ticking. Now, here's the brutal math that nobody's talking about. A 10% supply reduction in fertilizer does not equate to a 10% loss of food. It actually equates to a 25% loss in yields. Now, in low input yields around the world, like the Sahel or even parts of South Asia, it can hit 30 to 50%. As of April 2026, global nitrogen production was down 20%. Prices skyrocketed 70%. 2026 planting cycles have already been completely disrupted. And the supply chain lag, even if the strait were to open tomorrow, we keep hearing that, it will be open tomorrow, right? But even if it opened tomorrow, we're talking an 8 to 14 month of lag time. That's your entire growing season. It's gone. So in this report, layer 1 is already locked in. It's pretty much confirmed.
Are you single? Maybe you're divorced.
Since that ad came up, I'm gonna stop it there. If you want to watch the rest of the video, they go to the title of it, they go to the channel. I mean, it gets a couple scriptures and end it. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son. With 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass wounds, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. And the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall be upon it on every side. So north, south, east, west, destruction, famine, pestilence, destruction, just period. Everything, all these plagues the Lord is bringing, it's going to be everywhere around the world. It ain't like it's going to go over America like it's the most, it's the golden place on this is God's country. Shut the fuck up with that shit. When you Edomites saying that damn shit, that Lord about to kill this motherfucker. And I don't care. I do not care. I want it to be destroyed. Shit, I pray the Lord have mercy on me too. I better do the same thing. Let me get to Matthew chapter 24 verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. With all these problems going on around the world, yeah, it's gonna create there's already a daggone conflicts and wars going on. So yeah, and when the more the conflicts increase, the more the famine and everything else is gonna increase. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Yeah. Last one, 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in them days? It's gonna get so bad. Ezra seen the days that we live gonna be coming into pretty soon. And then he's seen these days back in the ancient times. But the Lord give you a vision of what's going to be coming in the future before it goes down. But He's giving you what you're going to be seeing. And our forefathers seen these visions, and they freaking out. They like, whoa, I'm going to be living those times? Yep, because we all reincarnated. And we all here today. I don't want to say about all of us, but some of us are here, in present time. And we in our lot prophesying. In the name of Yahweh Shema Shai. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. It's going to be a lot of death like that dude talking about millions of people, hundreds of millions of people at risk. And that's just America. What about the rest of the world? I guess now, he was talking about 100 millions of people around the world going to be at risk. But shit, you can just say some billions of people going to be at risk for sure. But anyway, You want to pray like heaven, you don't be at risk. Well, we going to go through some stuff. Hey, I don't know what it's going to be, but I just pray, Lord, have mercy. And you better do the same for yourself. The beginning of wars, World War III, class wars, civil wars, race wars. With this lack of food, water, and anything else, people going to be going there busting heads, splitting wigs, and eating their kids. And the power shall stand in fear. The wicked league will be hid out because it's going to be too much for them to handle, to try to control. The beginning of evils, ill times. What shall I do when these evils come? Seek Yahweh Shema shall repent. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent for scourges for amendment. Before all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful of their scourges. So take heed to these warnings, because it's building up. People be like saying, when the end gonna come? It's not instant, nigga. It's a build up. You know what I'm saying? It's like your car. You just wash your car today, but it takes days, weeks to get back dirty again. It's a build up. You know what I'm saying? Get all that road grime to build up on that car. You know? It's just everything takes a time to build up. Shit. You need to be building up that your faith and your trust and them prayers to Yahweh Shema Rashah and pray, Lord, have mercy on you. Because, destruction build up, wickedness gonna build up too. So, anyway, that's all I gotta say. But hey, man, seek Yahweh Shema Rashah by seeking His prophets and take heed what to say and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Rashah by praying Yahweh Shema Rashah, praising Yahweh Shema Rashah, worship Yahweh Shema Rashah, fearing Yahweh Shema Rashah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Rashah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Rashah. Keep on preach, keep on teach, keep your faith and trust strong in Yahweh Shema Rashah. Stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust strong in Yahweh Shema Rashah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order Yahweh Shema Rashah. Peace and bless to the hopeful elect and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.